Matt Childs. I am super excited to start. As you guys know, I want to be a NICU nurse, so I feel like this is really the time that I need to like understand every single bit of information that I can. So this is the book that we have. I don't know if there's a study guide for it. I'm going to look online to see if there is, because if there is, then I'll definitely buy it, because there's a lot of information in here that you have to know, and you know, you don't want to get tripped up on certain things, and if you could give yourself that extra boost, then why not? You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff does cost money, so I understand that if not everyone is able to do so, but if you are able to, I would do it. Then I also have the Matt Child Success book. We'll see how this is. I think my friend said that they like this one, so hopefully it's better than the Med-Surg one. And then I also need to get the Pediatric of Success, because we cover everything in one, all in one subject. Everything's like, we get babies, children, and the mother all at once. So I'll be getting that also. And I don't think I'm gonna do anything too different other than our book that I showed you, the Maternity and Pediatric Nursing. It comes with, well, at least when we bought our package deal, it comes with a thing called, I think it's called Course Point or Pass Point or The Point or something like that. But when you go on there, it has adaptive quizzing. So as you take quizzes, it keeps track of what you got right, what you got wrong, and if you do well in all of the easy ones, then it takes you to the next level and to the next and to the next. And I think it goes from 1 all the way to 8. And our teacher said they expected us to be at least at a 4 or 5 beginning, and then they would like us to be at an 8. And I think it's really good, because if it has adaptive quizzing, then it's not going to give you any easy questions. It's going to know what your style is and automatically go for the next one, so that you're constantly testing yourself. But what my teacher did tell me is, do not try to substitute your adaptive quizzing for your entire learning. You can't use this as a way to learn. You need to read the textbook. Again, you need to read the textbook. I am not a textbook reader. I actually hate reading the textbook, but I have to do it. And I think that's the difference between fundamentals and Med-Surg. Is fundamentals, I was trying to find the easy way out and just, you know, read the first line and the last line of the paragraph, read what the bullet points are, anything in italics, bold. I would do that and then not pretty much read the gist of it. And I think that's where I pretty much, you know, I was being lazy, to be honest. But now, with Med-Surg, I am reading everything word for word, page by page. But what I tell you what I will not do is I will not go back and read that book again. I am done. Once I read a chapter, that's it. If I need something to brush up on because maybe I wasn't paying attention, then I might read that paragraph, but I will not reread. Absolutely not. That's, it's not happening. I have a few friends that will reread and it works for them. That's great. Do what works for you, but I know what works for me, and I know I hate reading, and there's no way I'm going to put myself through reading the second time around, because honestly I won't do it. My mind will wander, or I will decide to start cooking. Right before my exam, I was like overly saturated that I cleaned the apartment, I made banana bread, and then I worked out, all because I was trying to avoid studying. So once you get to a point that you're like, I just can't take it anymore, give yourself a break and then keep it moving. But pretty much what I'm saying is if you like to read the chapters and you think rereading will help you, do it. But I just won't. So I read once, then I take my own notes, and then I listen to my teacher's lecture, and then I add in their notes, and if they have PowerPoints, then I add in anything that I did not cover in before. And then when I do questions, I add in the reason and rationales that I did not consider, or anything that's going to further help me, understand the material. And that's what I do. And then my friend also mentioned that we should do flashcards. She said that, you know, there's a lot of material, a lot of key terms you need to know. So I think I'll also try that as well. I generally hate doing flashcards because they just get everywhere. I am known for losing things, and I'll drop it and I'll just be like, forget it, I don't want to touch it. Or I write something on it and then I never actually pick it up again. So I try to keep everything in my study guide because it's all there, and I will actually go through my study guide a few times. And then what I also wanted to mention to you guys is the one thing that I'm really worried about is over our summer break we don't have any classes, and I felt that during winter not having any classes for those 4 weeks, I was a little bit worried that, you know, some of the things kind of, you know, you kind of forget little things. And you mean, you think like, no, you should have it ingrained, you just went over it a few months or whatever, you should be down packed. No, you will forget little things, and you want to make sure that you keep up with everything and you don't forget anything, because they expect you, when you start that next semester, they expect you to go hit the ground running, that everything they taught you before is fair game, so you need to know your stuff. So what I decided to do is to start volunteering at a local hospital again. I'm hoping to get back into the NICU to do the feeding hold program for a few reasons. One, I want people to know my face so that when I apply for a job, it makes it a little bit easier if I actually have a reference like, oh, I used to volunteer here, and you have recommendation letters. Two, because I want to test my nursing knowledge, and I also want to see how nurses are interacting in the field that I want to interact in. So I'm going to watch for things that I need to know. I'm hoping that there are some of them will actually teach me certain things and allow me to do a little bit more hands-on things. So I would definitely recommend during your summer breaks or anytime you have a long break, is to try to get yourself in a place where you can continue your learning. If that means shadowing doctors, volunteering at hospitals, maybe volunteering at your doctor's office or something like that. Just something to keep you in the same mind frame. Because if you think you're going to go the entire summer without touching a nursing textbook, you are going to screw yourself. Plain and simple. Also being said, there are a few classmates that, you know, they just don't read textbooks, and I understand it. I hate reading. I don't like reading textbooks. But in nursing school, if you think you're going to pass the class without reading anything, unless you have some, you know, job experience that, you know, it's pretty much taught you everything, you need to read the textbook. So I think that's very important that you guys do that. Just read the textbook. Just get it over and done with. You will be a lot happier if you read it and you know it versus not read it and think, oh, maybe did I miss something? Because that could be, you know, one or two questions that, you know, you just skimmed the textbook but you didn't actually really understand what was going on. I wanted to touch on, and this was a video that I meant to post, it's probably like a month ago now. It was a video on how to have an effective study group. And pretty much I wanted to have another study group to really collect my thoughts on what it is I think helps and what doesn't help. So first, main thing about study groups, keep your study group small. No more than 5 people, period. Just, you can't. I know you want to be everyone's friend, you want to help people, or you really need help, so you think the more people the merrier. Absolutely not. People will start to goof off, you're going to start gossiping, you're going to start going off on other tangents, and it's fine to go on tangents, but you know, you have to reel it back in. But when you have 5 or 6 people, it's hard to have organization, and it's hard to keep everyone, you know, together. Second, I think it's important that the group has like some kind of team leader, somebody who's going to make sure that, you know, once people go off tangent, they're going to bring it back in. Also, you want to have an organized idea of what you're going to cover. So if you have 10 chapters in an exam, you need to say like, okay, what chapters are most important or the hardest, or what chapter are we having the biggest issue with understanding, and tackle those first, okay? So anything that you have an issue with, go through that first, and then you go to the easier stuff last, because you know you already pretty much know most of the details. You just want to, you know, have a little refresher. Third, and this is gonna sound mean, and pretty much anybody that I know that works just as hard as me or even harder, I am absolutely willing to help or study with them. Makes sense. I'm not gonna learn anything from somebody who doesn't know anything. If they don't have something to bring to the study group, they're not invited. Lazy people, I don't care if they're your friend or not, do not invite them. Not in this study group. So I say this to say is that even if you have friends, and they could be your best of friends, if they are not going to carry their weight, at some point in time you're going to have to let them go, okay? Nursing school is not a competition, but you cannot get there, you know, trying to drag everyone along with you. So if they're not willing to do the work, you're going to have to leave them behind. When I have my study groups, what I did was, my first one I said, you know, let's tackle each chapter and say what are the key points from this chapter, what do we think they're going to question us on. And what we do is we look at our syllabus that they gave us, and then we take our textbook and then we cover everything that's in the syllabus. We make sure we answer all the questions that we think they could ask. We make sure we understand any values that are important, signs and symptoms. Focus on what you would do as a nurse, and I think that will keep you in line as to how to study for exams, because that's the questions that they're going to ask you. What else for a study group? I would say don't try to study for more than 5 or 6 hours. People think you could do like a whole marathon thing, but at a certain point, at least I know, I get oversaturated and then I start to daze off. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm checking my emails, I'm doing anything but nursing school. So I would say try to study for maybe 4 or 5 hours tops, and then, you know, call it a break, and then come regroup and come back at another time. I bring a textbook, I bring the study guide, and then I bring any other resources, and then I ask everyone to bring a different resource that they may have, and then we do test questions at the end of the studying to kind of reinforce anything we've learned, and then we listen to each other's rationales on why we think, you know, somebody answered it this way versus why you would answer this way, and then you